Hey there, it's Tim Burrell from Raleigh, North Carolina. Today we're going to learn something extremely important. It's about negotiating and choosing the style of negotiation. Does the picture here look like some of your recent negotiations where it's nothing but a big battle? Well, today we're going to learn how there are alternatives. You don't have to negotiate that way. Sometimes you might need to, but most of the time you can learn something new. So, how many of you know people who are extremely intelligent, extremely well educated, but they're not doing well financially? Okay, quite a few. Almost everybody does. Normally, that's a negotiating problem. That's why you want to pay attention today. Why learning how to negotiate is important. Now, for those of you that want to know what we're going to talk about, I've got every single one of these slides on the handout. And for those of you that like coaching, need a little bit of information, there's areas for you to write down next to it. So if you get a particularly good idea, go ahead and write it down. Also write down your questions. And at the end of this, we're going to have a story, talk about my experiences. You can compare it to your experiences. Possibly you can bring up some of your ideas, and we can discuss all sorts of different things on how to approach negotiating. So let's get started, because we've got something to cover every way that people like to learn. First thing you do in negotiations when you're just presenting or receiving an offer is determine which style of negotiating you're going to have. Your first point here is cooperative, where you exchange information and you collaborate. Some people call this win-win. The second style is competitive, where you really compete, try to fight over the limited amount of resources. And why is this the first decision? Well, just visualize it, a little mini story. If you are just that nice little choir boy and you're just giving information and you're giving information, and the folks on the other side are behaving like a street gang, they're taking all kinds of information, they're going to use it all against you, you're not going to do well, and neither are your clients. So the first thing you need to do is determine which style of negotiation you're going to have. Style number one, win-lose, competitive. The first point on the screen, you don't share information. You just take a position, and you stand by that position and defend it. The second point, you defend your positions and abandon them and gradually move towards each other. You don't share what the real issues are. You just share the position. The price is this, and that's a great price. Okay. It's take, take, take. You want to take everything that you can. It's a visualization that you have a fixed size of a pie. The more of the pie I get, the less of the pie you get. So the more I can take, the better I'm going to do. And the way I like to phrase it is, my gain is your pain. If I win, you lose. It's not something where we can collaborate and succeed together. One side wins, the other side loses. Okay, that is competitive. The other style is cooperative, win-win negotiating. William Ury wrote this book about 30 years ago. He's written 4 books. A lot of people, folks in the class were asking, what are good books to read? Anything by the Harvard Negotiating Project. Harvard Negotiating Project. Particularly Mr. Ury's 4 books, you'll do particularly well. I love his last one, Getting to Yes with Yourself. So, first point on the screen, you share information. Critical exception on that is you share non-confidential. If your clients say, oh, well, we're getting divorced and we don't want anybody to know that, don't share that. They've instructed you that's confidential. Respect that confidentiality. You've got to maintain their trust. Second point, what you're trying to do is satisfy their interests, what they really value, not the position. The asking price is this. We want to move to the beach, and that's why we're pricing it aggressively. The interest is the why, as opposed to the position is just the what. As opposed to win-lose, where it's all take, 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 this is give. What you want to do is find out what the other party, your counterpart, not your enemy, your counterpart, the other person that's putting the deal together with you, what they value the most, and give it to them. What do you mean give it to them? Most people think this is counterintuitive. Well, when they get what's most important to them, they're going to close the sale. you're not going to have a big spitting match over a hot water heater. They're going to be so happy they got their big points that they're going to work out the little points. And how does this increase the size of the pie? Let me tell you a little illustration. Let's say you've got a seller that's being relocated. They do need to sell, but prom is coming up, and their daughter, who's grown up in this house, could be going to prom, coming down the staircase that she, the house she grew up in. All their prom pictures are going to be from the home they love. And you've got a buyer who's on a month-to-month lease. Yeah, it'd be nice to move earlier, but move a little bit later. That one point is not valued the same by both parties. The seller values it much more than the buyer does. So if you take that particular point and give it to the seller, the size of the pie increases without any great loss to the buyer. What you do is you trade things that are of unequal value so you can increase the size of the pie and make your deal more valuable. Everybody benefits by creative solutions to what are their real interests, as opposed to just arguing positions. So this is a different style of negotiating. It takes more effort. And how do you tell? Well, you test it out. Let's start at the bottom of this slide and move up. You test the other agent by offering a little bit of information. And then, next point up, do you get cooperation? What do you get in return? And let me illustrate this, because an abstract concept is not as good as a role play. So let's have Barb Wilcox come in, and she and I will go through two different ways of beginning a negotiation. Hey, Barb.
Hey, Tim, here's an offer on your schoolhouse.
Fabulous. I love offers. Oh, okay. Oh, how soon do they need to move?
I put it in the offer.
Oh, okay. We've got a closing date specified. Okay, and where are they moving from?
Out of town.
Oh, they're not local people then. Yeah, okay. So tell me a little bit about your buyers.
Well qualified, and they like the house.
Yeah, well, I like it. Yeah, got your offer. So there's a whole bunch of blanks that are in the form, and you filled in all these blanks. Which parts of the contract are more important? There must be some parts that are more important than other parts.
No, they're all important.
So that's why we negotiate all these blanks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And if I'm giving you a counteroffer, I'm giving you a response. What kind of response could I give you to make you look good to your clients, make you look good to your buyers?
Get them to accept the offer.
Okay, yeah, you like the offer the way it is. Yeah, okay, fabulous. Okay, first time through. Let's try it again.
Hey, Tim, here's an offer on your schoolhouse listing.
Fabulous, Barb. I love offers. Always a good opportunity. So how soon do they need to move?
Well, our buyers have proposed 30 days, a 30-day close, but we're flexible.
So if we need a little more time on the seller's part, then
Yeah, they're definitely open to that.
Okay, that'll work. And,
Yeah.
So where are they moving from?
Actually, the husband is being relocated from Pittsburgh.
Company relocation.
Yes, absolutely, and
are they paying a little closing cost?
they are. He'll get some closing costs from his employer.
Okay. Well, I noticed that you haven't asked for any sort of
Nope,
closing costs.
don't need any.
That helps. That helps. Well, tell me a little bit about your buyers.
Oh my gosh, 2 adorable little kids and a puppy.
Oh,
That'll be a handful.
Yeah.
But schools are probably one of the most important things for them right now, and that's why, of course, we're looking at schoolhouse.
Okay. Yeah. So being in this particular school thing, so all those different blanks on the contract. So filled them all in. So are some parts of it more important than others?
I would say that the price is going to be the most important thing, because they only qualify for a similar amount.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, wait. I noticed in the pre-approval letter, it's just barely at what they've offered. Well, in terms of a response, what can I do when I present it to the sellers and we give you a response? What kind of response would make you look good to your buyers?
If you can give us a good price, and then that'll help the buyers out, and then have your sellers decide when they want to close, since my buyers are flexible on that.
Okay, and we can show them a nice gesture on your part, not asking for any seller paid closing costs. That'll give them a little more net proceeds.
Yeah.
And on repairs, with a lower price, we might have to be a little tighter on repairs. You think you can sell that to your people?
We'll do our best.
Yeah, yes, I think it's possible. Excellent. All right, well, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay, 2 completely different situations. The first one, what did you learn about the buyers? Nothing. The second one, you know that you can work with a situation where the company is going to pay corporate relocation. So on the second one, we've got a situation where the company is going to pay the relocation costs. We get a benefit of not negotiating seller-paid closing costs. And we know that some of the critical parts of the contract. They're just barely getting there on the price, but we can take other things on the seller's side to compensate for the price. A better closing date, possibly be a little tighter on repairs, things of this nature. So on the first one, no exchange of information. Going to be win-lose. Pull back all your information. Play your cards close to your vest. In the event that you're doing the second one, you share some information, find out which parts are the most critical for each one of the people, and give them their most critical parts so that they can gain that way. Don't have much time for the next 2 points in the slide. Ask open questions. Who, what, where, when, why. So then the other party can expound. Don't ask closed questions where they just do yes and no. And when you are negotiating with people, and this can be an entire subject, so we'll just touch on it, you use what I call the platinum rule. The golden rule is you treat other people the way you want to be treated. The platinum rule is you treat them the way they want to be treated. You communicate with them based on their personality type and the way that they think. Whole subject in its own. Wonderful courses that are offered on that particular subject, but let's move on to the next point, because let's pause right here. Who do you think chooses which way you negotiate? Okay, how many think you, as the grand negotiator, you get to influence the outcome and you are the one that gets to pick? Okay. And how many people think it's the other party, your counterpart, that gets to choose? And now we'll wait for those of you that can't reach it. There we go. Okay. Well, those that think the counterpart chooses are correct. Good analogy is dancing. If you're dancing with somebody who doesn't dance well, and they step all over your feet, you're going to have to adjust. If you're instead dancing with a highly professional dancer, then you can be a little bit more exotic and you can have a little bit better time together. So you adapt to their style. Some people think, oh, but I can change them. You can hope. And if they're sophisticated, you might discuss it. But realistically, people have a default style. They resort to that default style. You find out what that style is, and you adapt to their style. Now, this is a lot of theory. Let's just apply it in a particular situation. I've found my students remember stories. A concept is good, but you can apply, you're going to remember Sam and Richard, Samantha and Richard. And first time through, it's going to be collaborative or cooperative. And we're selling their house, and I sit down with Sam and Richard, and Sam says the biggest thing to her is when that house that's being built is finished, she wants to have her house sold, preferably closed. Doesn't want to be paying 2 mortgages. Oh my God, I'd be dropping the price like crazy just to get it sold, to take that 2 mortgage paying off her back. Second thing, she's an artist. Really important that she has her artist studio with a lot of light. So moving to temporary housing is kind of difficult. So a big value is being able to stay in the property, but get it closed. Get a gentleman who makes an offer through a wonderful agent, and we get to talking. The initial point, the very first thing I see on the offer is, ooh, it's low. It's back in 2010. We were happy to have offers in 2010. The balance in the marketplace favored the buyers. So, what do we do? I want to find out all the other points. This gentleman lives in New Jersey, is going to be moving down here in the future. Right now, he just wants to get a great price on a house while the prices are low. Hang on to it. Eventually, he'll move into it. So he doesn't want just a rental. He wants a house he loves. But he wants to save his place. Perfect. So I can then satisfy Sam and Richard's interests. So we give them a counteroffer that is a little bit flexible on the price, but we say we want to rent it back after we close it soon. In other words, we want to see that he's got the money. We want the peace of mind that we're finishing the other house with the money in our pocket. Don't want to have to move twice. And give him a fairly good price, but we make up for it on the rental. Because from his standpoint, if he takes it and they move out, he's got to fix it up. He might be vacant. He can afford to move the price down Also, Sam and Richard don't have to move twice, they don't have to put things in storage. So we've got a lot of different things where the sellers can gain by not moving twice. The buyer can gain by having a good price, and he can also gain by having good people in there. Even though they're paying him less, they're going to take good care of it. Great deal, closes very gracefully. Everybody's happy at the closing table. Cooperative. Now, let's try it again. Competitive. Offer comes in. I look at the price. Whoa! You got to do better than that. Normal flinch. And I get a response saying, whoa, hey, you know, it's 2010, what do you expect? You know, it's a buyer's market. He's got the one who's got the power. He can dictate it. Well, tell me a little bit about him. Well, you know, he wants a really good deal. Anything else? No, that's the price. You know, really good, great opportunity for you to have that price. Okay, fine. Go to Sam and Richard. Well, I've got this guy, here's the price. We give him a counter offer that's real close to the price. Hand it back to them because all we're doing is negotiating the position. The buyer goes, what? If you're only going to come off that much, yeah, forget it. Walks. We have something that if you know the true issues, you can put a great deal together. When you only know the positions, you don't put any deal together. That is the difference. And collaborative negotiating takes a bit more work and is a lot more effort. But in this situation, we get a much better deal. So let's go over what we learned today. And those of you that are taking notes, you can finalize some of these things, and those of you that want to compare to your own experience, feel free to ask me either now or after class about how your experiences in negotiating differ from mine. We've gone through the what of what we're going to talk about, and you've got all of those things. And hopefully you've learned why. Because look at the difference for Sam and Richard. You put a deal together and everybody's happy, versus you get nothing. And how much commission do you make when it doesn't close? Yeah, okay, good. So the very first thing that you do, determine what style you're going to negotiate. Compete or cooperate. Test that out. There's a wonderful song, Sweet Seasons by Carole King. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, most times you choose between the two. Put that in your head to help you remember. Some mnemonics are a lot simpler if you can relate it to something. Well, change it a little bit. Sometimes you win-win, and sometimes you win-lose, and most times you choose between the two. So that's what this class is all about. Test your counterpart. Offer a little bit of information and see what happens. Are they going to collaborate? Are they going to share? Or are they going to clam up? Then you adapt to them. You might try to change them, but it frequently ends up in a disaster. And then I hope you've learned from this class that cooperation takes a lot more effort. You have to find issues. You have to ask better questions. You have to be a lot more open to discussion. But you get a lot better deals. So thank you very much.